What's gonna happen today since I am role-playing with someone here? What's gonna happen today since I am role-playing with someone here? I will be, kind of in and out. So, see, because this person requires a long RP answers, so, I mean, it's not that bad, it's just RP answers, so, I mean, it's not bad, it's just tedious, but I don't mind. It's the first really on the account that I'm on, first one in basically forever. Basically forever on the account that I'm on, so. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this answer, and so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna read this. We're gonna read this thing here, and I'm gonna stop every now and then to answer people. So this person, so yeah, a lot of these people are dead, actually. And okay, he killed people. She's dead because actually this is sad because she was one of my favorite characters. He was actually one of my favorites too. Fuck you, bitch. But I actually did like Rita Repulsa's actress, so. Unknown causes, so this means that they just died of, see, because he looks like, the dad from, because he looked like the professor from, hang on. Okay. A narcissistic family member, I'm just kind of checking to see if she's a narcissistic family member arrived late after everyone had already arrived at the burial site. She was wearing an enormous hat, okay, so fucking what? And sunglasses with a low-cut gown if she was attending the Golden Globes on the red carpet or something. She loudly made an absolute scene of how devastated she was. She was generally making it all about her. Well, as far as I can see it, she probably was devastated. You know, just because she wears all that does not mean she's a bad person. You go fuck yourself. Guilt acting. My mother was the mother of the deceased put on a terrible act of how much she loved and missed her daughter. Shortly thereafter, she was convicted of her daughter's murder. Where's my cut? I witnessed a strange shower of a family friend come into the visitation screaming and looking for her brother because she had found out she was never written into the will, and it was a heck of a scene. Woo. I think of the children. An angry old woman stormed out of the bathroom with a fistful of flies and promised screaming about how inappropriate we were for keeping them there because there were children here. She threw them at the funeral director's place. They were kept in the cabinet in a small basket, well hidden from public view. She had definitely been rifling around and had found them. We were no longer allowed to keep our sanitary products in the restroom after that. Oh my God! How disgusting! Past last call. It was an open cabinet wake. A friend of the deceased attempted to give her a drink. She ended up being forcibly removed as she wouldn't stop spilling a lot of liquid in the casket. It was as horrible and inappropriate as it was heartbreaking for everyone. Okay. At what point do you say inappropriate and heartbreaking in different ways? Maybe her friend, her best dead friend, she is seeing probably for the last time. You know what? The writer of this story, Henry 0923, can go fucking burn in hell along with the fucking friend's funeral he was at. Fuck him. My cousin's funeral, she was 27 years old and involved in a single car crash after hitting a slippery patch on the road and scratching the concrete wall. At his funeral, all of his brothers, sisters, and parents sat in the front row of this graveyard site. Then, lo and behold, my cousin's ex-girlfriend, over a year, showed up and immediately inserted herself in the front row next to his sister. Well, there's a fine line between you can't tell her really to go away, because if she really was your girlfriend, you can't really tell her to go away, and that she's just a cunt. She proceeded to scream and cry and throw her stuff on the ground periodically throughout the service. All the family gave her awkward stares, and no one wanted to address her inappropriate behavior. I've never seen this type of attention-demanding behavior before. The problem is that she was probably genuinely sad because it was her ex. That's the thing. A little inappropriate, a lot of fun. My grandfather was always a trickster. He had a great sense of humor. He had this little song he would sing to me and my siblings where we would repeat the words do, dee, do, dee. Do, do over and over. At his funeral, my aunt tells the story of him in the middle of it. My 6-year-old cousin do in front of 50 people. Needless to say, it was lightening the mood a bit and made everybody a little happier. How is this inappropriate? How is that inappropriate? Okay, the kid just had a memory of his great-great-grandfather. You people cannot go fuck yourself. The word inappropriate needs to really be defined. Imagine this. Picture, if you will, 2 elderly women in a funeral square, squaring up. People are still crying from the ceremony. At lunch after my grandma's funeral, his daughter and previously married D, who no one had seen in years, showed up. D was written bad checks all the way to the state prison and definitely had some unresolved beef with my family when she got out. Last time my mom saw her, she was 11. D left her infant daughter to my mom to babysit and never came back. Fast forward to the funeral. D was acting like it was a family meeting. No one was having it, since she basically ruined their lives of everyone in the room, one way or another. My grandpa's last girlfriend, legally blind woman, tried to physically fight her until others stepped in. Bright orange means stay away. My great-grandmother's funeral. Her son showed up to the funeral wearing khakis and his bright orange Tennessee Vols t-shirt. He started yelling at my mom when she asked him who the pallbearers were going to be. He also threw a fit about who was in the room. Mind you, we haven't left the funeral home yet. Needless to say, we won't talk to that side of the family anymore. You know, I almost want to say that most of these guys are really, really childish. Okay, people deal with death in their own way. My brother-in-law's girlfriend locked herself in the car and cried and screamed and threatened to hurt herself. At my father-in-law's funeral, she was fine 5 minutes later and explained in my way, in my in-laws, she did it because she's not used to having all the attention. Okay. At my grandfather's funeral, the stand-in ceremoniously pastor kept calling my grandfather by the wrong name. The pastor, we're here for John Smith. The crowd looked confused. Pastor John Smith lived a good life. John Smith this. My spouse loudly said, we've never met John Smith either. His name's Bob White. Fucking retard. At the wake of my very young sister, my aunt started talking to me about how she was going to write a children's book. She gave me a pen and her contact information. I'm not sure what she wanted, but I'm working on an English degree and we barely ever saw her. So I looked at it as self-promotion. The problem is it's not self-promotion. She's generally asking you for help. But, you know, be an ass. Jump and duck. My aunt tried to jump into the casket at my grandma's funeral. Multiple times people had to restrain her as she wailed and crawled at the casket. My sister couldn't go back in after that, so we just walked around town. My aunt had the nerve to passive aggressive after that. Nerve to be passive aggressive after that, as if we ducked out of the surface because we had better things to do. See, you know, I'm gonna say that this is my opinion. You can roast me all you want for my opinion, but you're just gonna look like the asshole. To others, it'll look like you just ducked out, bro. Come the fuck on. Butterflies. My cousin's funeral, he was only 16 when he went, so there were a lot of kids there. My mom wanted to surprise everyone by sending clowns to his funeral. They were going to paint butterflies on their faces because my cousin died he wrote it known as butterfly disease. How is that inappropriate? Okay, they were trying to fucking make the kids, like, less sad. Okay, I just hate some of these. My best friend died last year from a random heart failure at 25. The pastor at the funeral went on about 10 minutes on how we were all the reason for his passing, and we were all sinners. He went as far to say as we should join the church to make amends. He didn't know any of us. It's inappropriate, but that's what he would have wanted. But what he would have wanted. The boys were 10 and 8 years old. Were my great grandfather's weight. They got in a chair, moved it to the casket, and started making nothing to a smiley face. They were laughing the whole time. When my grandfather-in-law saw it, he immediately pulled them away and told them that they shouldn't do that. My father-in-law said, "It's fine." He would have really loved that they did that. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so why do I? Oh no. 1, 2. Ooh, I accidentally did one longer than her. Oops. Licking at a funeral. My grandmother died when I was about 10. We were at the wake for nearly 6 hours, and the makeup they had put on her was very bad. It was sad and disturbing. To lighten the mood, my uncle told my sister that people would feel it if she licked their elbows. She went on licking elbows of the grieving family for the rest of the way. You can feel it if someone licks your elbows. Lick. What the fuck? Might not like them, but you should respect them. I was at a funeral of a priest once. He was so well liked in my church. Not only did dozens of priests visit, but there were also like 2 or 3 bishops. More than half the people had to stand outside the church via loudspeaker. It was kind of hard to do that though, when the neighbor of the cemetery played anti-church songs super loud from his porch. I'm absolutely not religious and usually listen to the exact same music as well. But wow, that was inappropriate, especially because the guy got up around 8 on Sunday just so he could mess with people. That's what I call dedication. Fuck yeah. I'm sorry, but, you know, cheer up for America. I had a guy who didn't know, walking up behind me, walk up behind me during my grandma and my dad during my grandma's funeral. They were lowering the casket and the jerk put his arm around both of us and looked back, and everybody was wearing black, obviously except for this guy. This guy was wearing American flag pajama bottoms, red shirt with sleeves cut up. We both looked up and said, cheer. We both looked up at us and said, cheer up. He was being nice. Go fuck yourself. Grief from a monster. This was my grandfather-in-law's funeral. My husband's mother is a saint. I don't know where she got her sweetness from, because it was clearly not from my husband's grandmother. Her mom, she ditched all her kids when they were babies. Literally left them in the driveway and disappeared. After the years, my mother-in-law talked to her maybe 1 year. She had the audacity to just show up at the funeral in the attention, and not only the thing she said to my mother, I need the death certificate so I can file whatever benefits or retirement money he had. Even though they had been divorced for over 40 some odd years, my mother-in-law already in tears, my husband had to physically restrain me because I was about to knock knock on her dusty butt. No. I would have fucking knocked out my husband and knocked out that bitch. I would have fucking knocked out whoever's fucking touching me, holding me back around. I would have fucking hit them in the face and then I would have hit her in the face. Fuck that. My mom passed away immediately. Her high school best friend is the worst ever. She's 53, still lives with her father, and swears she is God's gift on her. She hadn't spoken to my mom in at least 5 years. She started rumors that she had an addiction problem and died from that. She said this to people she didn't act, which she wasn't invited to. She needs more salt. Just before spreading her mom's ashes, my daughter stuck her finger in the jar, scooped up some of it, and ate it. I tried to play it off like it wasn't the weirdest thing I just witnessed, but my wife said, why? She replied, I wanted to see what my mom tastes like. Kind of bland and crunchy. We're free! My uncle, who was not well, he passed away. He was notoriously mean to his children, though verbally and physically abusive, a loner. The man who would generally look for any excuse to argue. Anyway, his funeral, everything was going well until my cousin came barging in through the door with a single fist raised in the air. Everyone turned around to look at him, and he drummed his stage saying, "Rejoice, the tyrant is dead." He turned around and waltzed out of the room like nothing happened. That's the thing. When my uncle dies, I'm doing that. Because fuck that. Crying is quite appropriate. When I was 13, my aunt passed away from a terrible car accident. Terrible car accident. My uncle and cousin were also in and survived. My aunt and my mom are best friends, so naturally I was very close to her. At the funeral, I sobbed, especially when they sang Amazing Grace. My aunt was the first death I ever experienced in my family. My stepmother pulled me aside and said immediately after slow bleach, crying was totally inappropriate. Go fuck yourself, you whore! My father's funeral, my family is white and my brother is adopted. He is Puerto Rican. We were in line accepting everyone's condolences. One man came up, looked at him up and down and said, "Who are you?" My brother responded, "I'm his freaking son. Who are you?" Seated, stating the obviously inappropriate. When I was 9, my brother was 5. Our great uncle died. On the way to the visitation, my parents were explaining death to my brother. When we arrived, my brother ran behind the casket and yelled, That guy is dead." A PSA, everyone in the audience. No one knew if we should laugh or not. My great uncle's the great uncle was named Aura. He was a sailor who was covered from head to toe in tattoos. No question. He would have found it hilarious. That guy is dead. No. He would have laughed his ass off. No. Someone who was a sailor like that and was covered head to toe in tattoos, would find that definitely funny. At my grandmother's funeral, my family all debated over whether my grandmother should be at the visualization. She had Alzheimer's and might get upset, and it might upset her or she wouldn't understand. We decided to bring her all day. She greeted guests, showed them to her dear Clyde, and walked about how much she missed him. She would get to talk talking, and then every now and then she looked over and realized it was him. She would get surprised and that it was him. It was actually Dora because she wasn't too upset for long and helped the other family members forget the grief for a moment. When it came time for the minister to do the service, it was very quiet for a moment. When you hear my tiny grandma's voice saying, "Where's Clyde?" That pansy, he always hated to go to church. That might have been a little inappropriate, but we all laughed through our tears. Oh, where's Clyde? That pansy, he always hated going to church. Whoa. Oh, it hurts. The new inappropriate, a relative of my mother who died, along came in, who instead of paying his respects, just stood there like a normal human, got right next to him, and did a Fortnite dance. This made me think bad thoughts. I would have grabbed him by the head and yeeted him out the door. Rude beauty lesson? Ooh, that cake looks good, actually. At my grandma's funeral, which was quite a somber ceremony, we were thanking people for coming. The guest generally shook my hand and hugged me and apologized for my loss. But not this guy. He shook my hand and said, "Don't you know eating chocolate gives you acne?" And then turned and walked away. I was stunned. Okay, nigga, fuck off. Assuming he was sick, my grandfather to the priest who was doing the service at the graveside. He was new to the area and didn't know my grandfather or the family. As a part of the service, he indicated as much, saying that he did not know my grandfather, whether he was a good man or not, whether he was saved by Jesus or not, and that he may be down below at this very moment. My aunt was ready to throttle him and gave him the death glare to cut his speech short. A few minutes later, everyone was having a alone moment with the casket as it was lowered to the ground. While my aunt was having her moment with the priest, the priest decided it was a good time to ask her about her death glares and wanted to know if he had done something wrong. See, that's the thing, is if he didn't fucking know him, you can't get pissed at him for it. Third, the count of funerals. A close friend of mine unexpectedly passed away due to a freak accident. Just to give you an idea how to picture the story, the priest sounded like the Count from Sesame Street. At the wake. He forgot my friend's siblings' names a few times and gave a very short speech despite knowing the family for a long time. Didn't even seem to have recollection who they were. Fast forward to the end of the funeral, 7 family members was giving a beautiful, heartfelt eulogy. My friend read from the Bible passages and sang songs. At the time it was time for the priest to wrap up and send everybody to the cemetery, but instead he rambled on for a minute or two about birthday. Now I must switch gears because I have a wedding this afternoon. He moved his hands up and down, looking quite confused, and finally brought them together. Well, he pointed at his friend's parents. I'm sorry, it sounded like some sort of Transylvanian Ron Burgundy. Everyone was shocked. At least my friend could joke about how hilarious our deceased friend would have found it. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Inspired to be inappropriate. I hope people are inappropriate at my funeral. I really hope people are, because friend's mom passed away, so naturally, a lot of his childhood friends went to the funeral. One of them was a guy we all knew but did not like because he was pretentious. As the funeral went on, they asked if anyone knew her and would like to give you a word. His hand instantly shot up and gave the longest speech of the day, longer than the eulogy. In his speech, he brought up that here to get it, and that he worked in country and was planning to go to medical school to get in there. We all sat there with our mouths open, and as the kid, his friend's mom's eulogy to brag about his academics. Fucking nutter butter fuckwad cunt muffin. Feeding a dinosaur at a funeral. The funeral home where we held my grandfather's funeral after he passed was quite small, and there were a lot of people who attended. My family was lined up in front of the casket, and we had a separate line of people to come give us condolences, handshakes, etc. The line started with my father and ended with me, the youngest grandchild. The washroom was a few feet away from where I was standing, and had to walk by it once they exited the line. So I was doing my thing, shaking hands, kissing cheeks, saying thank you, and giving hugs. As more and more people started to pile in, I noticed that one of my cousins was missing from the line, and I looked over and saw the bathroom was occupied. No problem. He probably just had to go. Just as I was thinking this, I heard a very loud and familiar voice shout, "Roar," from the bathroom. Yes, roar, meaning I love you in dinosaur speak. I turned white, and the man was shaking. The man I was shaking hands with looked embarrassed for me. He heard it too. Of course, the woman next to him heard it, as well as the woman next to her. And this continued for a solid 5 minutes. Everyone who left line heard it, at least a loud roars as they walked away. I excused myself and walked to the bathroom and did not even bother. I opened the door. There was my cousin holding an entire roll of paper towels, ripping them one by one as he was standing in front of the garbage, which was one of those step pedal ones. He pushed it over the foot and yelled "roar" as he threw the paper in. Standing in front of the garbage can, which was one of those step pedal ones, he pushed it up and yelled "roar" and threw the toilet paper in. And he threw the toilet paper. And he pushed it open with his foot and yelled "roar," threw toilet paper, and then stepped on the pedal a few more times after, making the chewing gum with a completely quiet and numb. He looked up at me smiling. I didn't know what look came across his face, but his smile faded quickly. I spoke through my teeth. Everyone outside can hear you. He looked at me. He looked down at the garbage can and quietly said, "Oh, that's a shame." Stood there staring at him for a solid minute. Then he finally realized that he should probably stop what he was doing and get back in line. As I moved back to my spot, I noticed people were appalled and were trying to hold back laughter because they knew my cousin. Because they knew my cousin, and that's just what he would do. Roar! Gloriously inappropriate timing. As my family friend's funeral, when the priest was giving the eulogy, he accidentally set off his lifelight. This is one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed. Beep, 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 beep. I fall into my can't get out. Oh, no. My aunt and my mom don't get along. At my father's memorial service, my uncle, my mother's brother-in-law, was carrying her father's ashes and decided to alleviate some tension between them to say, Dad was now travel size, and it did not go over well. Dad's now travel sized. Oh. One of my aunts used my grandmother's funeral to announce, for the first time publicly, at least so far that the Moses family was concerned, that her biological father was not my grandmother's husband. At first, at the time she was conceived, the fact didn't shock many people. My aunt was only a natural blonde, Well, setting the announcement, on the other hand, was pretty outrageous. Okay. Kick a stone, or kick a rock. At my father's funeral, my mother wanted to see the casket go into the ground, so they had it all set up with a vault above the ground, and they were going to put the casket in the vault, but put the lid on to lower the vault in the ground. Everyone but me, my mother, and my brother, the funeral director, and the backhoe guy headed to the funeral for sandwiches. They all hooked the bucket to the vault lid in a big slab of concrete. But they went in crooked. It didn't seat right. Before they could pick it up to readjust it correctly, the funeral director started kicking the lid as hard as he could. Everyone was just standing there open-jawed as overweight middle-aged man, the funeral director, ran himself out of breath, kicking 1,000-pound slab of concrete and failing to bunch. Once he winded himself to take a breather, the backhoe guy gave the control a twist and it slipped into place. Cool. I went to a funeral of a friend a few years ago. He was in his 20s when he died. An attendee was trying to slip something into the casket at the gravesite. He didn't realize after the viewing they had locked the lid. He kept trying until he caused the casket to tip off the stand, falling and causing the lid to catch on something and pop open. The body practically fell out of the casket, causing great trauma to his family, especially his grandmother. Oopsie doopsie! Doing good work. My grandmother's brother died. We showed up at the funeral after school. My mom put us in the coffee room because we were being rowdy. When my grandmother came to say hi, I climbed to the vending machine and was acting like a pterodactyl, and my brother was using the baton made of straw to point out my unique features. My grandmother went from red and teary to all-out laughter and had to compose herself to return to the viewing. When, even at 6 or 7, I felt good about that. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, laughter is the best. Fuck off. 40. Your dad died. Look at this! One of my sister's friends showed up to a Friday here. He's really immature and just annoying. I wasn't super thrilled that he came, but whatever. When we were really online, I'll give you a when he made his way up to the family, he made a comment about the line being long and then proceeded to try to show us a YouTube video. I told him to move along. I guess he hung out the whole night and ate all the food we put out. When things quieted down, he hopped back in line and tried again to show us a video. I was stern with him and said it's not appropriate this time. He stormed off in a huff and wrote me a nasty email. Well, you're a fucking whore, probably, or something like that. Too many members of the family. Jesus. At my cousin's funeral, she was pregnant, and there were complications about a week before her due date, causing her to lose her daughter. It was a stillbirth. Most of my family is Mormon. There's a lot of us. My particular line came to from a great-great-grandparent who had 13 children, and that great-great-grandparent herself had 10 siblings. We were name tags at the family reunion. That being said, because we were technically family, a ton of people get invited to a funeral of people they don't know. This particular funeral, another woman was offended by the mother who decided to be offensive as by the mother and decided to be as offensive as possible. The family released a flock of doves in honor of the innocent taken too soon. The kind of lazy lady brought a freaking weapon, aimed it at the flock of doves when they were released, terrifying the livestock, living heck out of everyone there. No one knew what was going on. Wow. What a bitch! It was a funeral for my uncle. I was very distantly related to. This happened in Greece in the summer. The church was full and incredibly hot. You could smell the sweat. There was intense, but the air wasn't circulating. The priest was going on and on and on. I don't think I can describe how grim the situation was. Not totally unexpected, therefore. Just the priest was getting something particularly emotional. An old man standing near the back fainted. Somebody had a brilliant idea that the pallbearer should carry him since they've participated in everybody's since they practiced it. Everybody squeezed a bit tighter to let them through, picking him up 3 on one side and 3 on the other, and more or less the casket, they started carrying him towards the door, and suddenly the guy woke up, turned his head several times and gasped, "What's going on?" and immediately started yelling, "I'm alive! I'm alive!" At this point, one of the pallbearers laughed so hard, he dropped that. Thankfully, a leg and the others struggled to put him down, and now the church was absolutely exploding in laughter. I'm alive! Greece gets incredibly hot during the summer. They should have, I don't know. Dude, can they not, put air conditioners in the church or something? I don't know anything about how Greece laws work. There she is. My first boyfriend's grandma passed away while we were together. I went there to support him. His grandfather was 2 hours late and didn't even see him once. All we heard was someone say, "There's my sexy mama," and turned around to watch him. A very tipsy grandfather stumbled towards the casket before stopping in front, breaking down in tears. Okay. Fuck you guys. Don't fucking... A year ago, my boss died. I was around 19 at the time, when he was the biggest part of our company for many years. Most of the employees sat in the back, so stand in the back. Keep in mind, this was an open casket. Halfway through the ceremony, someone claimed to be his daughter. He never spoke of his kids and started screaming, telling me, "No, he can't be dead." It got pretty sad. Then out of nowhere, she jumped on his body and started smacking his corpse, shouting, "Can't be dead, wake up, wake up." It was extremely awkward and sad. Somewhat funny, to be honest. See, that's the thing, is that it probably was his daughter, and she probably couldn't handle that. Disbelief does not require disrespect. Last year at my aunt's funeral, we were all sitting in the church. I sat in the way back because I was kind of uncomfortable. My jerk of a cousin chose to sit next to me and say, "I don't give a heck either. I'm not religious at all." He then proceeded to play some game on his cell phone for the entire funeral. Mind you, this man is 32 years old at the time. I'm not religious either, but I still have the courtesy to stand when everybody else did. I tried to sing along to the song following everyone else. This guy, no, he was too much of a jerk. Wanted to grab him and say, listen, I don't give a heck if you're an atheist. I'm an atheist, but one thing is not to believe in, another is to blatantly disrespect your own aunt's funeral. Fuck you! Maybe he didn't like the aunt. Still no excuse, but no. Yep, that's it. So, boop, 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 boop. Monster Hunter World time. Boop, boop.
PS4 Codec Savage XMR20.
This is only going to be a quick one. I don't exactly need the best of the best. I never said you could join my quest. I never said you could join. Fuck you. I'm not sharing my Tobitagachi parts with you. Go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of my thing. What the fuck? How can he just join like that? I didn't open the quest. I thought it was a single player quest and that I was doing it by myself. But okay. I guess little baby back bitch joined, whatever. Quick! Toby Bigacci is one of my favorite monsters in here. One of them. I like I can handle it without eating. It's not the problem, it's just... I have a armament pill. I do not have any ancient potions. Darn. Darnal. Wow. Oh. Okay, I guess that's a one chance, one fuck. Guess you only get one chance then. Okay.
Dragonfish sent at Eurosky hashtag 6030 that is. Bacon sent put a little Franks with ranch. Not just any ranch but Hidden Valley Ranch.
Hang on. Am I not allowed to do this one? The fuck? Okay. That took 6 minutes. I mean, I guess that's my fastest Tomodachi one, but you know, who knows? was fun. Okay. The first of this month, I am buying this game for PS4, so I will be back on it for full. For a while, I'll be playing with my friend. She has it too. Y'all gonna love it. We're gonna do it called basically the misadventures of, well, Monster Hunter World. And then later, the month after, I'm going to buy the DLC for it. So, on PlayStation. So. I guarantee you guys are gonna love it. Man, I could go for some chili right now. Some nice taste, just some good smelling chili. That took me 5 minutes. Okay. I really am rusty. I mean, it took me before, when I started playing, it took me a lot longer to kill some of these monsters because I was retarded when it came to weapons and stuff. So. I don't know why I did that. Fuck you. Six minutes, yeah. Anjanantha's always been a problem for me. Woo, woo, one more. I got it good. I got it really hard. See, I knew the Dragonator would have killed it. Would kill it with how low its health was with one shot, so. You know how saddening it is that I do this job to entertain people and thus no one shows up to be entertained? Really? Like, come on. I play these games just so you guys can watch, and it's like, I don't know. I can't wait to see my time on this one. Although, I don't think I can count as a speedrunner. I'm not good enough for that. 4 minutes. That is actually the fastest time I've ever done on a raffle or Serapian. Dang. That's it for this trailer. So, the thing is I might not play this one, because I got to eat, because I'm hungry.
Peggy 16.
Coming out here, you're struck by the silence. But then, if you stand there for a minute, you realize that
Peggy 16.
coming out here, you're struck by the silence. But then, if you stand there a minute,
why is she so sad?
Peggy 16.
Coming out here, you're struck by...
Peggy 16.
Coming out here, you're struck by the silence. But then, if you stand there for a minute,
swear to God, if I have to explain my job description one more time to some dumb motherfucker who doesn't know what the fuck it is, just fucking punch someone. Oh. I see Korea is watching. You know what I'm really tempted to do is make a lodge for all the rares that I have. For the rares that I have, and just put those all. Those all in that lodge. Not happening, dumbass. I fought you guys enough to know that when you're charging, of course, it won't give me a skill point. I only have a few more to go before my skill points are used, before I don't get any more skill points. soon I am going to stop this playing, actually. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read this last story. That's the end of the street. So I moved to another state with my sister. She had made some new friends. One of them begged her to set me up with him, and I reluctantly agreed. She assured me that he was a very nice guy. Our first date kept gushing about how gorgeous I looked. He even told me I was gonna make me his queen and take me around the world. It was definitely fine, but I still wasn't interested in him. After dinner, I made it clear that I was only interested in advice. He continued to beg my sister to get me out. I declined, and we moved back home. A few months later, he came to visit us. I didn't want to invite him in our home, but out of courtesy, we did anyway. He wouldn't stop looking at me. Luckily for him, it was my birthday, and I was in a really good mood. So I just rolled my eyes and told him he could come out with my group of friends. At the bar, he was really into me. I was getting annoyed because he didn't let me relax. At some point during the night, I told him in front of everyone I really saw him as a friend. He threw a fit, yelled at me, and saying that I was a horrible person. I was leaving him alone. I ended up crying because it was so embarrassing. This guy's friends went to talk to him after that happened. The next morning, my sister told me that he said he was really sorry and wanted to say bye to him at the airport, and I obviously didn't. They beat the shit out of him. That's what they did. They beat the shit out of him, and he probably won't talk to her anymore. But okay, I guess nice guys always come in last as always. But okay, he was a friend of a friend, but we hung out with the same group of people, and always went to the same parties. This guy in the group would always say things like, "Oh man, you and Kyle would be great together. You should give him a shot." I was kind of like laughing out because I already had a boyfriend. When my boyfriend and I eventually broke up, Kyle asked me out. I wasn't really ready, but I figured it was just a first date, so I agreed. Plus, everyone had been pressuring me into giving this guy a chance, so I felt like I couldn't say no. The whole evening was awkward. We just ordered pizza and watched movies. He would not stop staring. I couldn't even eat because I felt like I was under a microscope. After our date, we kept in touch through text. About a week later, he asked when we would have another. I told him maybe, but I had rushed into things too fast. I wasn't feeling connected with him. He then dropped the bomb on me. I broke up with my girlfriend for you. Yep, when Kyle found out I was single, he dumped his girlfriend of 8 months just to ask me out. And the tiny cherry on top is that they got back together, and I haven't seen him in 4 years. It's basically, you can go fuck yourself, bitch. You had a chance. I actually dumped my girlfriend for you. You had that chance, and you wasted it, so whatever. Sounds like the girlfriend of 8 months really didn't give a shit, so... Wow. Okay. All my guys told me that this guy from our group of friends was really nice. Even though I felt like he was creepy. I gave him a shot. We went up one. But I regretted it. He asked me if I'd be interested in entering a relationship with him. I said no, and I truly wasn't into it. He said saying no was definitely disrespectful, but vague yikes. After the awkward date, he came over to my place, completely uninvited. He asked me if he could ruffle my hair because he wanted to feel my scalp. He also kept asking me to sit close with him, even though we were already next to each other. He also thought it was a great idea to mention that he heard voices in his head, often dreamt of hurting people. I immediately rushed out of my apartment. And wanted to be done. I checked my keys 5 times to see if he took any. He is by far the most creepy, socially inept person I've ever met. He's aggressive and impulsive. Yeah, no shit. It's called untreated mental conditions, bitch. Get over it. There are a lot of dudes around like that. Man. Really nice guy, but he really is genuinely nice though. He seemed nice enough, so I thought I'd give him a chance. Now I regret it. When we went out, no fucking shit, you regret it. Or else you wouldn't be on this thing that I'm reading. I mean, I guess. And when we went out on our first date, he acted extremely snobby towards me. Every time I offered a conjectory point of view on any general topic of discussion, he would immediately disagree, and when he couldn't prove me wrong, he would resort to mocking my appearance, attire, and personality. That was our last date, obviously. No. The problem is that, yeah, there are men like this. It's just that I think I know what kind of person he is. During my first week of college, I was in a dorm common room going through my calendar on my phone. I didn't realize some guy was looking over my shoulder as I was doing so. He went up to me and said, "Hey, do you have any plans on Saturday? We're going to breakfast." I obviously objected, not knowing who the heck this guy was, but he just wouldn't leave me alone. He kept asking. Eventually, I agreed to go out with him. I was purposely on my worst behavior in an attempt to repulse him, but it just must not have done a great job, because he ended the date by calling his mom, telling her he met his future bride. He then handed me the phone to me and I told his mother that I would absolutely not mention him, and that I was only doing it because he wouldn't leave me alone. His mom laughed and said, "Sounds like my boy." Oh, our date, he would have regularly sat on the couch outside my dorm, waiting for me outside. He followed me to and from my classes for 2 months, tried to befriend my roommate to get close to me. He gave up after some time and moved out of the military. Apparently ended up getting a restraining order against him. That's just, okay, there's a difference between a weak story and a good story. And I'm going to have to say that was one of the weakest stories I've ever read in my life. And it's like, so it's the normal cliche, he's creepy. That's it. None of these are going to be unique, I have a feeling. Okay. I was guilted into a 1-year relationship with one guy. He was super nice at first, but I was also naive. I realized quite quickly he wasn't for me. He was just a very difficult political views and opinions on things. He was also very judgmental, often made fun of my weight, and it really crushed my self-esteem. When I finally mustered up the courage that I didn't want to be with him anymore, he guilted me into staying, and that I'd never find another guy who would love me as much as he did. He even said he would hurt himself if I left, but eventually I felt like I ran out of options and ended up ghosting him. I changed my number, deleted social media for a couple of years, and moved out of my apartment. I never heard from him again, thankfully. Political views, aka he was a huge Republican. He wanted her to be the perfect Republican bride, and she was a Democrat, and she basically told him no. Okay. It sounded like he was in it for the green card. The date kept getting weirder and weirder as the night went on. He made really intense eye contact with me and told me about how he didn't drink like we were at a bar. Who goes to the bar to the bar sober? He told me his plans to stay in the country. He was a foreign student and find someone to settle down with. Okay. Makes sense considering he clearly hates women so much. Went out on a date. He went on about how horrible women are and how gross their periods were. After dinner, I never talked to him again. A couple years later, a friend of mine bumped into him at a party. He was in a room getting freaky with another dude. So he was gay. So what? If when he said that, you didn't figure out that he either just really hated women or was gay, then okay, fuckers down there, go fuck yourself. In college, I got out of a 3-year relationship and went pretty deep into depression. My friend wanted to take me out to a club because they thought it would help me get my mind off my ex. I reluctantly went. After the club, we went back to my apartment. A couple of people I didn't know ended up coming with us. One guy was pretty tipsy and went into my room and passed out on their bed. When I was ready to head to sleep, I woke him up and told him he could have the couch he wanted. He said he lived just down the street, so he decided to head home there. The next day, I saw him on campus, and he proceeded to berate me for not letting him stay in my bed. He took it a step further by telling me I felt like he treated him poorly for not sleeping with him. I stopped talking to him entirely after that. You met him that day. What the fuck were you talking to him in the first place? Why didn't you tell him to go fucking suck a fat cock? He brought me flowers to my door, and everyone saw it. They assumed we were a couple. He made small talk with a few people as he waited for me in the lobby. Even added them on Facebook, saying that he would definitely be seeing me later. He did a lot of things nice guys are expected to do. He opened the car door for me, paid for dinner, etc. But I could feel that underneath it all, I was accumulating some sort of debt. If he expected me to owe him something in return for his chivalry, my gut feeling ended up being right. When I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, he started harassing me and saying that I owed him the second date. Gross. Now, eventually, I just stopped responding to his text. I realized afterwards I should have trusted my gut and avoided him in the first place, so I'll take the blame for that. Yeah, no shit. This guy needs a reality check and a lesson on how not to be a misogynist. Okay, at some point, the misogyny with some men is a deep-seated thing from the time period and the people they grew up with. Their dad was that way, so they're gonna end up that way. So that's how things usually work, and it's like, it's really sad, but he seemed generally nice. Beside a couple of my friends warning me, I went on a date with him. He started out fine and went for beer and wings, and we tried to get to know each other. At some point, he started talking about how he'd like to make enough money to support a housewife. I told him that I'm personally not interested in that sort of life, and he got quiet. When time came to pay dinner, I asked for the bill to be separate. He got very upset with me. The waitress was visibly uncomfortable, and I didn't want to argue, so I just let him pay. He walked me home, said our goodbyes, and I made my way to the door. He ran after me and held the door open and asked, "Where's my kiss?" I paid, so I deserve the kiss, or more. I shook my head and shut the door and locked it. A few days later, he told someone that I was in love with him, and that I guessed he couldn't, that I couldn't take rejection and had to make a lie, to lie to make himself feel better. I meant is crazy. What? We finished each other's sandwiches? wanted to do. I was a girl who loved bad boys. The nice guy in my life was my best friend for a number of years. I always knew he liked me, but I was busy chasing mean boys. We grew up together and watched me pick all the wrong people. Other friends kept telling me to give him a chance, and I never listened. 2 years ago, he asked me to come over for dinner. It seemed fairly casual until I realized he asked for me for Valentine's Day. I can't say I was guilted, but I still feel a little awkward. I was nervous, thinking that it was going to be weird, and I turned up. It was fine. He cooked a meal, brought me flowers, opened bottles of wine, and offered me chocolates and candies on the table. I didn't drink much. He ended up getting through the whole bottle of wine because he was nervous. Still, I thought it was a lovely evening of Fat Natural. Fast forward to a few years, and we're now approaching our second anniversary in a lovely home we built together. But that Egyptian Mau cat, but looking after a beautiful but Egyptian Mau cat that we couldn't be happy with. We even finish each other's sentences and never run out of things to talk about. He's generally the best thing that ever happened to me. Nice guy. Sometimes the nice guy does win. Actually, I like that story. Jealousy at its finest. I didn't date him. We were good friends in college. He was also very close with my boyfriend at the time. We used to chat for hours at night. He was fun. He was a fun person to be around in general. One night, he sent me a long letter confessing that I really was surprised and I had never noticed the signs of it. I told him I really cared about him as a friend and that I wasn't interested in any other way. I also pointed out that I was still dating his friend. At this point, he sent a wave of hand calling me shallow and saying that I only like my boyfriend because of his appearance. You think you know a guy. Well, he could be right. But anyway, boy. He was the nicest guy I ever met. Super sweet, charming, and all that good stuff. It turns out he was only acting as sweet and charming. From time to time, his self-centered, manipulative nature would slip through his act, but I also hoped he would grow out of it. For the record, he did not. It sounded like she needed a megaphone. I wasn't guilted into going on a date with this guy, but we were co-workers and I knew he liked me. So he asked me to play pool with him after work. I told him that I'd go along as he understood we were hanging out as friends. After our pool night, he asked me if I wanted to play laser tag. I said okay. Then he asked me for dinner. Once again, I said okay, and I told him that I'd be paying for my own bill since it wasn't a date. Halfway through the dinner, he went to the bathroom, sent me a text message asking me out on a date. It was sweet, and I replied that I was only interested in the evening. He got really upset, left the restaurant, and never spoke to me again. Ooh. Yeah. I guess it kind of is right. Is age really just a number? I went out with a guy I met a while ago. I was 17 years old at the time, and he knew that. Eventually, I found out he was 30 years old. He creeped me out because he knew my age from the beginning and still wanted to go out. I was a dumb kid. No fucking shit. This guy told me... This guy was told by the nice guy that she would get fat from eating. Nigga, what? I worked with a guy who, after he found out I was divorced, asked me out on a date. I refused because I felt like it was too early for me to drink. He started sending me emails at work asking me to give him a chance. He kept saying that he was a nice guy and I wouldn't regret it. After some deliberation, I figured I'd throw the guy a bone. On our first date, he kept telling me the female started to stop me from eating my dinner because he said I was going to get fat. He thought it was the most hilarious thing ever. Let's just say our first date was our last. No fucking shit. I guess mom doesn't always know best. I went on a blind date with the guy whose mom set me up with. Who my mom set me up with. He picked me up in his truck and off we went. We went to the mall, saw a movie, and then we walked around the shopping for a few things. After a while, I got my period and had a really bad cramp. But I was ashamed to tell him, so I told him I wasn't feeling well. After that, his mood totally changed. He brought me home and didn't talk to me at all on the way. When he dropped me off, I told him it was fun and that we should see each other then. He looked at me while I closed the door and left. No words, nothing. I know I thought I was pretending to be sick to get out of the day, but I was sick. That really wasn't the case. What a shame. You know, okay. I know this is gonna sound douchey and all that, but you should have just told him. I know that's hard to tell, but you should have told him and he wouldn't have been pissed, okay? Everybody gets all uppity and shit when men get pissed, when they think females are fucking around. It's like, okay, but when males do the same thing, oh my god, they should be sent to jail. Like, what the fuck? More curiosity than guilt. His profile was okay. He seemed like a nice guy, and the kind to open doors and pay for everything. He arrived at our first coffee date. He bought himself one and sat down. When I arrived, he never stood up or offered me to buy one. Not that I cared, but his profile said that it was what he liked to do. He spent the whole date complaining about how hard it was for him to find dates, and how he was going to speed date. I didn't bother pointing out that he was already on the date. When I left, he didn't open the door for me. In fact, I think I opened it for him. I wished him well on the speed date. We could move to Alaska together. He told me we could move to Alaska together on our first day. Oh, come on. He couldn't even pretend to like them. I went on a date with a guy at a pancake house. I recommended the banana, strawberry, and Nutella pancakes because I had them once and they were delicious. He took my suggestion and ordered them. Didn't touch his plate for 15 minutes. I asked him why he wasn't eating. He said he didn't like strawberries. I almost ended the date right there. I didn't understand why on earth he would order the food he hates. It was plain moronic. Well, it was plain moronic for you to be a cunt and suggest something he probably didn't like, and that he was being nice and taking your goddamn suggestion. You just sound like a fucking cunt. Go fuck yourself. Just let him be the gentleman. I dated a guy in college who didn't have a car, so I drove everywhere. On one day, I parked the car when he got to the destination and got up before him. He screamed at me for not waiting for him until he got out the car first. He wanted to run over and open my door for me. Okay, he's being nice. Jesus Christ. That's worse than a marriage. That's worse than marriage. Well, he told me he was excited at the possibility of getting in a relationship with me. He also said he couldn't wait to delete our individual Facebook profiles so he could create a joint one for us. Hell no! Stalkers can be nice too, I guess. Everyone said he was very, very nice and also extremely shy. We started dating, and it was pretty boring, but at least he was a great listener. He was attractive and seemed interested in my hobbies, though. It bothered me he never had stories of his own. He probably retold the same two stories over and over. I know not everyone is terribly excited, but he was older than I was, and he was always talking about his bucket list, so I expected him to be much more interesting. As soon as he sensed that I was starting to lose interest, he would panic and start to watch me, and I would talk on my phone and he would be waiting nearby. Peeking around corners, I caught him doing it. He'd have something like a snack or a mail handy to pretend he was doing something else. The longest I noticed him working was 30 minutes long. Phone call I had with my dad. I could see his shadow underneath the door, lingering there. I broke up with him after I realized his extent of burden. I felt a little bad because he truly was a nice guy, but lurking just creeped me out too much. See, okay, the thing is someone like this isn't an introvert, but he just wants to know someone. That's all he wants is he just wants someone. A guy doesn't sound nice in the slightest. I dated him, and several people convinced me to give him a chance. I went I went along with it because I didn't have anything better to do in 10th grade. He ended up leaving me 3 months later because he got super paranoid and I needed to take time off for school for a few weeks because of surgery. And he thought I made the whole thing up to get space from him. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that I could show him the scar I got on my body. It sounded like a manipulative sociopath. He asked me out to lunch with him. I said, okay. I had been friends with him for years. We sat down. He told me he had a brain tumor and that he needed to confess his love to me before it was too late. It was not that. It was not about being a girl who turned down a guy with cancer. So I reluctantly at least said, okay. 3 months later, I found out he knew the tumor was benign the whole time. He took with my emotions so that I would go out with him. Well, you were the dumbass who said yes. She was being punked. I was not impressed with the limited conversation topics. He obviously attempted to show me that he was not like other men. He then saw that I was having a great time and cut me off mid-sentence, hugged me and said that he was going to head home. Very weird experience. We just broke all the rules of Snapchat and dating. He just broke, okay. A really nice guy has been asking me out in my DM. I figured I would give him a chance. The date goes okay, conversations don't flow over well, but I don't hold it again. So we ended up getting coffee and walking around town, which ended up being a 5-mile walk. At that point, I was ready to go home, and he walked me to the car, and I drove home. This is where it gets weird. I soon pulled into my driveway. My phone blew up with Snapchat. The guy sent me 3 minutes worth of Snapchat videos confessing his love, dating me for a second date, and saying all the minute details of it. My drive home literally was 10 minutes long. Make some interesting watercolor gossip. He became a creepy stalker, and I pretty much had to tell him to leave me alone, or I would call the cops. And yeah, I also worked with him. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. I know I sound like a dick. There seemed to be a good reason why this guy doesn't ever go through. I broke up with the guy after a few weeks. He said I owed it to help him find a girlfriend because I wasted his time. Okay. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's okay. I went on a date with a friend from high school who also happened to be my ex-roommate. It was quite a date. It was a quiet date even though we'd known each other for years. He was nice, but nothing ever happened. Later on, I set him up with my sister-in-law, and they dated for about a year. Now, he's married to someone else and has an adorable son. We were friends for 20... We are still friends 20 years after we met. Well, that one's sweet. What the fuck? Okay, yeah. I married nice to hear some heart. I married it. Literally the best, most relatable guy who supports me in absolutely everyone. He gives me everything I never knew I needed. He's my absolute hero and I couldn't be happier. I'm gonna fucking vomit at that one. Sometimes a nice guy is actually a nice guy. When I was single, my sister planned a party and mentioned that her boyfriend's very nice, very single friend would be coming. When I met him, he was shy but sweet. He later messaged me and asked me for my number since he was too nice to ask me nervous to ask me in person. We talked for a bit and went on a fun date. Then another, and then a few months later, we moved in together. Now 5 years we're married and have 2 little boys. Sometimes nice guys are actually nice guys. Well, sometimes some of these are gonna make me fucking vomit. Guilt seems to be a common thread. I spent 6 years of my life with a nice guy. The feelings of guilt never went away. I felt guilty for being with him, even though I knew I really didn't love him. I got no support from family or friends because they all loved him and couldn't understand why I would leave him. I became the bad person for leaving him alone. More than 2 years since we split and was happily in another relationship. We spent all those years wasting each other's time for no reason. I mean, if your family really does love him, then that means that they love him more than you. That means that he is allowed at any family function, and if you come along, okay, good for you. He showed up to our first date with a framed print of a original poem he wrote for me. That lovey-dovey stuff is not my cup of tea. The dinner was super awkward. Never again, never ever. Sounded very awkward for everyone. My high school friend really liked me and kept hinting at a relationship. I tried to drop hints that I wasn't into it, and he wouldn't let up. All of our mutual friends were trying to talk me into it. Eventually, we ended up alone, and I let him kiss me. He immediately told me that he loved me, and that his whole family thought we were dating. I told him that I was not into it, and set the record straight for everyone. It was very awkward. See, that's the way. See, the thing is high school is one of those things where if you don't date this person that they think you're supposed to be with, you are the bad guy. That's how it works. He just wasn't ready to let go. I told him I liked him and that I wanted to be friends. He drove me home. He held my hand in the car as if he didn't even hear me. I had to fake copy fit to get it back. Go fuck yourself, then. Doctor Who. I fucking love Doctor Who. It's okay to say no. I somehow ended up in a disappointing 2-year relationship because of a guilted first date. Okay, you could have fucking said no. They say that women are the emotional ones. He was awful, overbearing, possessive, and disrespectful of all my boundaries. He proposed to me once. We were broken up and proceeded to marry someone else less than a month later. Well, I mean, I guess you could say you lost your chance. Sounds like a sitcom. His mom called the cops on me at our prom because I danced with another boy. Ooh, giggity. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. After our initial date, we stayed friends for 5 years. When we got back together 3.5 years later, we eventually got married. At the start, it wasn't physically attracted to him, and I didn't want a relationship. But I agreed to go out with him because he was really nice. I told him how I felt, and he was fine with that. During the whole time we knew each other, he was an actual friend. It took me living far away from me to realize how much I loved him. When I went to visit him, we decided that we wanted to be with each other, and we have been together ever since. He's still the nicest guy. Ugh! Vomit is kablooey! And proceeded to draw a Punnett square. I met an old coworker for what I thought he professed his undying love for me, and proceeded to draw a Punnett square of our future children would look like. Needless to say, I got up and left. Okay. We would have just taken the jewelry. His mom invited me to their house and tried to give me their family heirlooms. I declined, and it was really awful and awkward. Okay. The poor guy. It lasted 2 weeks, but only because he asked me out the day before winter break, and we didn't even talk to each other once. A few months later, I was talking to his friend who had dated him before, and all 10 of us said we dated him because we felt that. Because you guys are cunts. That's all you are. Nothing more. Nothing less. And here's a happy ending. We met during our freshman year of college. He was my best friend for months and wasn't really into him when we first started, and now we're in love. We've been together for almost a year. Lovely. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the stream. Goodbye, everyone.